the meeting, you know? And then I'm thinking,
Good evening and welcome. I'd like to call the meeting of the July 1st, 2025 regular meeting of the Newton County Board of Commissioners to order. Our invocation will be by Commissioner Mason and our pledge will be by Commissioner Henderson. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let us all pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us back to this place of business one more time. We thank you for all that you've done for our community and all that you are about to do. We just come thanking you and praising you for just giving us the opportunity to be able to help move this community in the right direction. We ask that as we move forward in doing the business of Newton County, that you would give this board the wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding to be able to make the best decisions for our community to help enhance the lives of this phenomenal community. We thank you for every single resident that resides here. We ask that you continue to bless them, touch them, keep them, protect them from all hurt, harm, danger, both seen and unseen. And we'll be forever grateful and thankful. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Board. We are at item number 4, the adoption of the agenda.
Okay, could I have a motion, please, to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you.
Madam Chair, the next item we have on the agenda is item number 5 for citizen comments, and this particular section is for agenda topics only. Anyone who has comments regarding the agenda items are invited to come up and speak. You have 3 minutes each. Once your time is up, the next person will be allowed to come up and speak. Again, citizen comments for agenda topics only, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name's James Peterson at 70 Crooked Creek Way, Covington, Georgia. The item I'd like to address is item number 4 in the public hearing for the zoning hearing. It is the solar farm that is being placed in District Number 2. That solar farm will not take away resources from District Number 2 like a subdivision would. That man has a right to sell his land. It's either going to be a solar farm or it's going to be a subdivision. Okay, 133 acres. That would be roughly 133 houses times 2 for 2 cars, a 3-family house. That's going to increase the road traffic on already narrow, winding roads. That's if it is high, a low density. If you go to high or medium density, you can double or triple that amount. The solar farm will not bring any negative resources to the community, such as the police activity that happened just this evening at Denny Dobbs Park. Okay? Now then, it's not going to affect the water because we're not going to drill wells for the solar farms. The solar panels are recyclable, and it's better than a subdivision for our community. And, oh, by the way, they're not asking for tax abatements. They are going to award contracts to local contractors where possible. So it's a win for the community and keeping the crime rate down. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? So, agenda items only.
Dave Norton of Newborn. I would like to speak on the same issue on the agenda of the solar farm. I'm just curious, it's pretty much funded by Snapping Shoals. I was wondering on their properties, how many solar panels do they have on their property already?
Hello, I'm Scott Fuss, speaking on the same topic. I'm a lifelong resident of Newton County. I, in fact, grew up just a few miles from the proposed site of the solar facility being considered this evening. My family, like the owners of the property, the Jolly family, both operated dairy farms for decades. As members of this community, both of our families successfully ran their business while employing practices to preserve and improve the quality and integrity of the soil, water, and the environment. The land. This land and the connection to the community are important, valuable, and worthy of our best consideration. That's why the Jollies made the educated decision to pursue a potential partnership with Snapping Shoals EMC and Green Power EMC to utilize the land as a solar farm as opposed to the alternatives of a high-density residential development, one that by modern development practices typically strip the forest, level, terrace, and completely change the topography of the land in order to accommodate as many houses as possible. By contrast, the proposed site for the Jolly Solar Farm is ideal for a number of reasons. Open areas and timber would require minimal grading and soil disturbance. Infrastructure used to put the generated electricity on the grid is largely in place. Proximity to schools would accommodate technical and agricultural education programs. Generous green space and wetland areas within the facility would foster wildlife habitat. Spaces between and along perimeter areas would accommodate agricultural projects. Consequently, such programs are not merely hypothetical, but for over 6 years, a healthy resident herd of as many as 30 sheep live, eat, sleep, and raise their lambs among and beneath the solar farms of the Pony Express Solar Farm, owned and operated by Snapping Shoals EMC. The Jolly Solar Farm will produce much needed electricity utilizing proven, non-polluting solar generation to meet the needs of our homes and businesses, making a positive contribution while adding to Newton County's tax base and not placing additional stress on the existing infrastructure putting more vehicles on the already congested roads and requiring more schools to accommodate additional students. For the potential owner of the property, Snapping Shoals EMC, for over 87 years, they have been a reliable, not-for-profit electric utility owned by the people and businesses that we serve. They, like me, like us, seek to maintain the same quality of life and what is in the best interest of the place that I have been blessed to be a part of for over 62 years, because we live here too. I yield to the good judgment of this board, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
My name is Donna Yop. I live at 230 Trotters Walk, and the topic is the solar farm, item 4. Madam Chairman, board members, how would you feel if you learned Green Power EMC proposed building a solar plant containing 100,000 solar panels, 10 inverters, 40 megawatt large-scale ground facility in your neighborhood, which is planned to be in operation for 35 years or longer? Homeowners and residents of Trotters Walk subdivision and surrounding residents strongly oppose this solar project. We are all devastated the heirs of Jolly's Dairy Farm has entered into a potential sale of 332 acres of land surrounding Trotters Walk subdivision with Green Power EMC. The project's going to have a negative and major impact on all the homeowners, residents, abutters, but will also affect all the residents who live within a 2-mile radius or greater of the site. Based on the published documented studies and requirements, people are supposed to live at least 1.8 miles from a solar plant for health reasons. In our lives, we have seen and experienced things that were sold as good and healthy for humans or the environment, which proved to be very hazardous. The solar plant will forever change Trotters Walk subdivision and surrounding residential homeowners. Our peaceful way of life will be destroyed, along with the trees, landscape, potential major health concerns will be inflicted on many. The enjoyment of sitting outside to enjoy family and neighbors will be no more. Birds, butterflies, and all forms of wildlife will forever be gone. Residents will not be able to go outside at all to enjoy what we used to experience as a quiet country way of life. Residents may be forced to sell their homes and to move out of the county in which many of us has called home for 10 to 33 years. It is easy for anyone that won't be living close to this facility to say there's nothing to worry about. Would you want to live beside the solar plant? Would you want your health to potentially be at risk due to the electromagnetic fields? Would you want to listen to the noise and possible vibration caused by the inverters? Would you want to live next to the operational solar plant that will be in operation 24/7? Would you want your property to be damaged by increased runoff due to erosion from removing 120 acres of trees should the barrier walls fail? Would you want your property value to decrease? Would you want to live beside a solar plant that has a huge potential to create environmental issues if it catches on fire, damaged by storm or vandalism? Green Power EMC will make promises to the county and residents to get the project approved. What happens when they don't follow through? Solar plants are normally not built or in close proximity to existing subdivisions. So why are the homeowners and residents in and around Trotters Walk subdivision potentially being used as lab test routes? Building a solar plant surrounding the back of our subdivision brings many major concerns of the homeowners rather than benefits. Effects on human health from living so close. Effects of unknown consequences in the future. Potential fire hazards caused by faulty equipment. What type of safety mechanisms, if any, will be installed? Who will monitor the operation and potential malfunctions of the equipment?
I'm sorry, your time's up. Excuse me.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, board.
Thank you.
My name is Erin Shaw, and I reside at 65 Trotters Court in Trotters Walk subdivision, and my property directly abuts the proposed facility. And I want to reiterate some of the things that Ms. Yacht-Paul just said, since we are neighbors. It's easy for anyone that won't be living close to this facility to say that there's nothing to worry about. But again, I ask, would you want to be living right directly with your property abutting this facility with 100,000 solar panels? And there's a huge difference between 100 feet off the property line and the recommended 1.8 miles between residential homes and a facility particularly of this size. And I just want to reiterate that my concerns involve both health and the long-term consequences potentially. Again, we're often told that things are safe, and we find out 10, 20 years down the road that they're not, and they cause all sorts of health problems. And nobody has any evidence to say that what isn't going to happen in the future. Property values, some studies have been done to determine that property values can drop by as much as 7% if you are in close proximity of a solar facility, which certainly impacts my long-term wealth building and financial stability as a decrease in property of my house, which is an asset that should appreciate over time, not decrease. And directly abutting the property is an issue because my property and some of the other neighbors are downhill according to the topography map that was supplied by EMC in their application, the Green Power EMC in their application. And should the erosion methods not be sufficient or any of them should fail, I'm going to end up with water, or could potentially end up with serious water issues on my property from runoff, and also damage to my property from silt that might run off in that being downhill from that facility. The visual barrier is proposed to block some of this between the residences and the facility. But what happens if those arbor vitae that are going to be planted fail to thrive, or the visual barrier that is already there that isn't going to be cut down between the facility and the residents dies because of erosion to the soil or an increase in heat temperatures caused by 100,000 solar panels? What happens then? What recourse do we have as homeowners if there is damage to our property or this visual barrier were to fail? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Daniel Moat from 45 Ashton Place. I'm in support of this. I think it's a great thing for the community. We don't need more houses on that side of town. All we hear is sirens running up and down Oak Hill Road all the time, so we're all for it. And the infrastructure it costs to build a neighborhood is just crazy over there. I mean, we don't need no more on that side. I personally feel like we're full on that side of the county. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Adam McGinnis. I'm actually live in Monticello, Georgia, but I have been representing the Jolly family for over 6 years. For over the 6 years, we've worked hard to find the right buyer for the property, one that would complement the Jollies, which actually live across the street, and one that would work with the community. For many times, we have been under contract. We have been under contract for years with developments, just like what we've been talking about with housing, hundreds of housing using the conservation use subdivision. So this is something that came very close to realization a couple of years ago. And in fact, it was the developer that backed out due to the economy and some other things that had happened. For over 35 years, my success in real estate and why the Jollies have hired me is that these things don't come easy. There's fights that we have to look at. There are concerns that we all are part of. But my success comes from being patient, allowing people and allow things to happen, fall into place, as you want to call it, God's will, whatever it might look like. Allowing the patience puts things into place, okay? The right decisions, the way to move forward with all these things. By not pushing, littering, doing what's best for the communities I work in, no matter what the backlash, has always been my strategy, okay? I support this project. I know without a doubt the decision tonight, the county will be the biggest winner in this whole deal. For years to come for this, and snapping shows and the Jollies will basically be something we'll look at and think for a long time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
John Clemens, 152 Deep Step Road, Covington, Georgia, on the opposite side of the county from this. I stand in opposition to this simply because of the environmental effect that I feel like is going to happen here. Now, there have been good points brought up about that from the standpoint of this as opposed to a housing project, and I can understand that. And if you go in there on that 139 acres or whatever it is, and you put 9 million homes, and I'm being very exaggerating there, but if you go in there and do it very densely, that would be a negative also. And I would just say that the people that are there need to also look at that and fight that if that's what happens, if you all choose to turn this down. But from a standpoint of the 136 acres and 39, whatever it is, out of the 300, my question is Snap and Show's going to come at a later time and do the rest of the acreage that's there? I would not want this in my backyard. I don't think any of you all would. And I believe if you were living in this subdivision, you'd probably have something to say about it also. I can see both sides of the issue, but I think for this thing right here, I think that you all would be best in the best interest of those that are affected. You need to side with them. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Public comments?
My name is Scott McMillan. I live off Connect Road. My family has land that joins or goes right across from the Jollies farm. I was born and raised in the same house pretty much I live in now. Known the Jollies all my life. Now, I understand everybody's upset about this, and of course, there's a bunch of people in the close-by neighborhoods, but even people my age that's lived here and watched those houses get built, we didn't want those houses. Now they're here saying they don't want the Jollies to do what they want to do with their land. I don't understand why I understand they have a right being a taxpayer, but there's more people my age and older that is wanting this more. Newton County don't need no more houses. We don't need no more cars on the road. I talked to 2 large landowners. One landowner actually joins the backside of the Jolly today. It's the lesser of 2 evils people don't understand, it seems like. They think this is the end of the world. If it ain't gonna be solar farms, one day we all know it's gonna be a tract home subdivision in there. And if this deal falls through, the next person might be a huge tract builder. They're gonna come in, they're gonna do the same thing. Everybody's gonna be down here protesting. They're gonna hire big lawyers, come here, lawyer up, and sue the county. The county's gonna screw around, and you know it's gonna get passed, and it's gonna be nothing but houses, and it's gonna be more crime. Denny Dobbs Park is the local park. Every time you look in the news, the only thing Denny Dobbs Park is crime. Just today on Nextdoor app, everybody's blowing up. Police cars, canine dogs, and I don't know if it's true or not, you know, but that's all we got in our side of the county. The solar farm is the less of 2 evils by 1,000,000 miles. It's the less evil that we need. And I'm for it, born and raised right across from it, and I'd rather see the solar panels. The Jollies has paid taxes into this county. They take care of their land. They deserve to sell their land, and they're lucky to have a contract like this for something of this instead of homes and Newton County is. That's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Madam Chair,
Oh,
I apologize for being late. I thought the meeting started at 7:30, so I didn't get in on the very beginning of this discussion. So I'm not sure if you all are trying to vote to table the issue or you're trying to vote to pass it one way or another.
these are just public comments right now on agenda items.
Okay.
That's all we're
And
doing.
I just want to be able to say, my name is Theodosia Wade, and I am a member of Sustainable Newton. We are a group of people in our community who are very interested in moving the county forward in very positive ways, ways that consider the planet, but not only the planet, the economics, and also the people. So this is a great issue because it really encounters all three. It really encompasses all three. it seems to me some of the concerns that I heard just briefly might not be as big a concern if people found out more information about it. It seems to me some more education for the people in the community might help with this. I have solar panels on my home, and they are a wonder for us. They help us tremendously with our power bills, and give us some sense that we are making a difference in terms of the amount of carbon dioxide getting into the atmosphere. Sustainable Newton has run a solarized program. So in general, Sustainable Newton is very high on solar and has really appreciated the project that Snapping Shoals put together down at the Pony Express. And we would expect the same high quality kind of project to go in this other location as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, the next item we have on the agenda is for reports from the chairman. And at this time, I'm not okay, I don't know that you do have anything this evening. So we'll move to number 7, reports from the acting county manager, Mr. James Brown.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. I do not have anything to report.
Okay, thank you.
Item number 8 is unfinished business. We do not have any listed, so we'll move into the consent agenda at this time for approval.
Okay, do I have a motion? Okay, we have a motion, a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you.
Madam Chair, we have 3 minutes before we move into the public hearing, which is going to lead us into item number 10. Would you like me to move forward?
That'll be fine, thank you.
Okay, item number 10, we have Chief Royce Turner. Newton County Fire Services is requesting board approval for acquisition of fire equipment and a specialty apparatus from DeKalb County Fire Department. There is no cost or funding required at this time.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, and members of the Board of Commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity to speak today. I respectfully request the approval to accept a valuable resource, especially the Georgia Search and Rescue truck offered by the DeKalb County Fire Rescue. While Newton County will operate as a contributing agency, the GSARD is a statewide coordinated program overseen by the Georgia Emergency Medical Management and Department of Homeland Security. This apparatus will be an addition to emergency response fleet. It is equipped with specialized tools and features designed to enhance the ability to conduct search and rescue, tech, confined space, major vehicle accident, and machinery incidents. Acquiring this truck will improve our operational capacity, reduce response time, and increase safety for both the responders and the people we serve. Partnering with DeKalb County through this donation demonstrate a shared commitment to the community safety and leveraging regional resources to better serve our residents. We are confident this asset will strengthen our emergency preparedness and response capability. Therefore, I respectfully seek the board approval to accept this generous donation by the DeKalb County Fire Rescue Department. Your support will enable us to protect our community better and respond more effectively to emergencies. I will host any questions.
Okay, any questions? Mr. Henderson? Yeah, he was second.
Commissioner Edwards to make the motion again.
Yeah, he was second.
Mr. Henderson seconds.
Mr. Henderson second. Okay, Commissioner Henderson. Okay, all in favor? Oh, you've got a question. Sorry. Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, obviously they did get a new apparatus, so Homeland Security and GEMA overall looking for other smaller agencies to support this program.
Okay, all right. Now, we have a motion, a second, all in favor? Unanimous. Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, it is 7:30 to start the public hearing. We can move into number 11 once the public hearing ends.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the Board of Commissioners. Our first petition this evening is under old business. It is a future land use amendment. This was tabled a couple of times before the board because it was challenged by a neighbor. So the applicant has since updated their survey to accurately reflect what it should be. It was not actually ever presented for a public hearing, so I do have to go through and present this one only. So it is FLU 25-000001, located at 6610 Highway 20. It is on 10.32 acres, tax ID 0002031. The existing land use map is commercial. The proposed land use map is rural residential, and the existing zoning is neighborhood commercial. It is located in the South River watershed in the emerging suburban character area and in Commissioner District 2. The owner and the petitioner today is Brianna Scott. An applicant's intention is to amend the flume from commercial to a rural residential in order to rezone the property to AR for a family conveyance. So essentially they're down zoning. Just a brief history. Like I said, it was heard before the Planning Commission on February of this year, and they recommended approval, and then it was tabled on March 4th, and again in May, and again that was to resolve the boundary issue. Character areas, we said, is emerging suburban. It supports rural residential, which is what we're here tonight to amend it to. It also supports agricultural residential zoning. And in conclusion, the applicant is seeking to amend the proposed flume to rural residential in order to rezone to agricultural residential. This may be appropriate with the policies and intent of the comprehensive plan and with approved zonings in the area. And they are similar for agricultural, forestry, and residential flume designations to the west and south of the property. And staff believes that this flume amendment may be appropriate at this time. And there are no conditions of zoning placed on the flume. This is only a planning tool. However, should the board approve this flume, the rezoning will come again before you, at which time we could apply conditions of zoning. This is the parcel here. So the dispute was on the southern boundary. This parcel came all the way down, and it had covered up the easement for this parcel at the back here. So that is what was corrected on their actual survey, and then it was updated on the tax assessor's website as well. The current zoning, you see, it is commercial, so their intent is to downzone it to AR. The flume is commercial. This is the flume that they're changing today. Watershed is South River, Commissioner District 2, emerging suburban character area. This is a survey, which the older survey shows the easement here. So this is the updated survey where they have updated it to show the easement so that the homeowner in the back could access his property. And this is the proposed, this is a concept of where they're proposing to go. They wanted to carve out 3 lots for family members. And they're at least 1 acre. And if there are any questions for staff, if not, Madam Chair, this is a public hearing.
Okay. So we'll now open the public meeting. All those in favor of the request are invited to come address the board. There'll be a total of 10 minutes for those speaking in favor.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brianna Scott, and I'm the owner of this property and the petitioner for this zoning and flume change. Our family is really excited to get this project started because we have 4 little ones under 3, and we're all trying to raise them together. So my older sister has twin girls, and I have a 3-year-old, 1-year-old, and one on the way. And we are trying to have a family plot where we can all live in proximity to each other so we can share childcare resources, food resources, group economics, and things like this, so that we can just try something new for our family, so that we can hopefully raise our children in the best and safest way possible and have them be productive, awesome members of society. And more importantly, just to spend time together as family, because that's very, very important to us at this point in our lives. So I'm really hoping that this request will be approved. And thank you so much for listening to what I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Well, that portion of the public hearing is now closed. We'll hear from those that are opposed to the request. Do we have anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Okay, then that part of the public hearing is closed. Is there a motion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Real quickly before I actually make my motion, I have a question. Shana, we did get from the information that we needed to get tabled from May the 6th. They got that squared away. That's all done. I think for the reason for the tabling on May 6th that they asked for, they got that
Yes,
taken
sir.
care
It
of.
was
Correct.
to make sure that they show this easement to the property at the back here. I don't, so this is the easement here. So this neighbor here could access his property before it was coming all the way down. So the surveyors have corrected that, and I think that was the only objection that we had at the time.
Excellent. Thank you. With that being said, I move that we approve FLU 25-000001.
Okay, do we have a second, Commissioner Edwards? Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Then that motion, that passes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our next item this evening was also old business. This one we actually already presented and had a public hearing on it. I'm just going to do a brief recap. I wouldn't go through the entire thing, but it is FLU 25-000003. It's off of Richard Chapel Road. This one is also in District 2, and they are requesting to change the flume. Well, they tend to end up rezoning. So the existing flume is residential, proposed future land use, rural residential is what they'd like to go to, so that they can rezone eventually to AR, which is agricultural residential. Just a brief history. So in March, the minor plat was submitted, March of 2024, which was before the moratorium was in place, which is why this one is still in play, even though it's a minor plat that they're looking to rezone. And of course, the Planning Commission, in April, they actually recommended denial due to the applicant not being present. And then the BOC tabled it on 5/6 to gather additional information. And again, the intent is to amend the flume from residential to rural residential in order to rezone the property to AR for subdividing. So we have the same character area. And our conclusion is, just to wrap up, it's completely surrounded by residential flume. This is also going to be considered a down zoning. So they're moving from R, which is single family, down to AR. And that's so that they can subdivide it the way they need. And I'll explain to, when I get to the survey, why. This is a flume, so there are no recommendations at this time because it's just a planning tool. However, should the board approve it, it will come back before you for the rezoning, at which time conditions of zoning can be applied. So this is the parcel here. It's long and it's narrow. They don't have enough road frontage to do 150 feet for each lot at the road. And because of our zoning, they cannot create flag lots under that R zoning, the single family zoning. So they have to rezone it to either AR or E. And AR was the most likely one because everything around it is AR. Everything in light green is AR. So they are hoping to rezone it to that. Flume is residential. They're South River Watershed, Commissioner District 2, emerging suburban character area. And this is the concept plan which they're proposing. So they're only requesting to create 3 lots, which will be far less than, if a subdivision were to go up there, which could go up by right. And the lot sizes are respectively 6 acres, 6.4, 6.2, and 5.5 acres. And these two, the flag lots here, they cannot create that in the R zoning, so they have to rezone it to AR to do that. And that's the whole reason we're here tonight. Are there any questions for staff? This was already held as a public hearing, Madam Chair. So we don't have to do it again unless that is something that the board wishes to do.
Okay.
If not, the board can go ahead and.
Okay. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I know in the last time this came before us, we heavily discussed flag lots for the most part. Is that the only thing that can be done on this particular site?
Currently, it is one parcel, so they can build one single-family home. However, if they would like to subdivide it, they would have to rezone it because of the shape of the lot. That is a hardship. The shape of the lot presents them from. They don't have adequate road frontage, right, to get the 3 widths that they need. It's going to create a flag lot either way it is subdivided. And because they cannot do it under the current zoning, this is why they have to rezone it.
And so I don't think the last time that we were here, I don't recall the applicant coming before us as well to explain. Is the applicant here today?
He is here, yeah, and they were here last time, but he is here today, sir.
I would love to hear from the applicant since we have not had an opportunity to do so.
I believe he
If that's
presented last
permissible,
time,
Madam
yes.
Chair. That's permissible.
Okay. So we'll open the public hearing. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Long?
Just a question real quick. I'm not a fan of flag lots at all. Are these 3 lots going to be sold off for development, or is this a family situation?
This is a regular minor plat. It's not a family conveyance.
Okay, so this is just somebody that is going to put large tracts together, and the only way, and I understand that it's slim, and that's why they're trying to do the flag lots, but these just are very devaluing, I think, to an area. So that's put my 2 cents back on the flag lots.
I don't think they'll be able to subdivide it further because there's no more road frontage after this. So these 3 lots would be what they can have now, unless, of course, they come through as a major subdivision.
Well, sometimes you get people's backyard in your front door with these flag lots.
Yeah.
Are they here?
Yes.
Okay.
You'd like to
Would
reopen
they
it
like
again?
to come forward?
Yes,
and
ma'am.
we'll open the public hearing now. Those in favor?
Good evening. My name's John Brewer. I'm representing Mr. Lonnie Cox. I'm with W&A Engineering. I did come before the board 60 days ago and explained the situation as best I could, and at that time we did have some discussions about flag lots, and I expressed my belief that that flag lots are a little overrated. And I noticed your comment about somebody's yard being in somebody's front yard. Well, there's a subdivision that backs up to the property, so that would be these houses' backyard and those houses' backyard. See what I'm saying? So there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 adjoining parties to these 3. There'll be 9 adjoining parties to these 3 tracts of land. But when I came before y'all last time, I said that, I had been at this for many years, and this is one of the very few times that I've ever had the opportunity to represent a backward zoning for a piece of property, and really didn't anticipate the resistance to the plan that we have here. In its current zoning, we do have enough road frontage to get 3 lots. However, if we have the correct amount of road frontage, and we will have the minimum required area in our current zoning to do 3 lots. However, when we extend those lots to the back line, that makes them longer than it is wide, and we were turned down at the code office process. And the definition that I don't necessarily agree with, and I said that the last time I was here, of a flag lot. What will be accomplished if you give us this zoning will be that we will turn a potential residential subdivision with the potential to have, I believe, that if we do the calculations, somewhere around 18 or 19 lots in it, to 3 lots permanently forever that can't be re-subdivided. So I just felt like that as a group, as the board, that y'all would feel like that was in the best interest of the county and the best interest of your district. I'd be happy to answer any questions, or just feel free to ask me anything you would like to. I have really talked about this with Sheena, really several times before we decided to take this route. I mean, I literally took this route on the advice of the code office. So if there's any other remedy to this, we would be glad to do it. But in its current zoning as it sits right now, we could cut 3 lots off the existing road frontage right now and donate the rest of the back part of the property to the neighbor. I mean, but it can be done. There can be 3 residential structures built on this property in its current zoning. Now, they would be longer. They would be so long versus the width that would fall under a flag lot. Definition of a flag lot. Even though we would have the minimum area, the minimum road frontage, we would just be too deep. Our lots would just be too big, and that falls under the category of the code book's definition of a flag lot. Am I correct?
Any questions?
Yes, actually, thank you for that. I have some more additional questions for Shayna, if she doesn't mind. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Why don't we, I'd recommend let's conclude the public hearing and then bring Sheena back up.
Okay. Does anyone else would like to speak in favor of this?
I'm not speaking in, my name's Dave Norton of Newbern. I'm not speaking in favor or against, but I believe I heard Shayna say that we'd already had a public hearing for this. And if so, we did. And if we're having a public hearing now, did we follow the rules where the public was notified that there would be a public hearing on this tonight? I just wanted some clarification that we're doing things proper. That's all. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor? We'll close that part of the public hearing. Is anyone that would like to speak in opposition? Okay, well, the public hearing is closed then. Commissioner Mason.
Yes. So, Shayna, so this is something that your office actually recommended versus having the 3 lots with enough of the road frontage. So you're saying that this model here that's being presented is what your office recommended to the applicant. Is that correct?
We recommended this route because when they did, even if they have the road frontage, they have to also have the correct width of the building line to make it a legal lot. And then it would have created a flag lot, and we cannot have flag lots in this zoning. This is the reason why they have to rezone it. Regardless of what configuration they have, it will create a flag lot either way.
So even if this wasn't approved, you're saying it's still going to be a flag lot?
If this is not approved tonight, then they won't be able to subdivide. It will remain as 1 lot. But the only way for them to get 3 lots is to create flag lots, so they have to rezone to do that.
Okay. And so then you said that if it's approved, the actual planning, they would have to come back before us to present whatever it's going to look like the final.
Yes, it will look similar to this or very close to this. This is just the flume amendment tonight.
Okay.
And if this is approved, they have to come back before this board for the actual rezoning, which will be a downzoning to AR.
Okay. So I guess what I'm trying to understand, is there a way for us to still get 3 homes here without having the lengthy driveways on those other 2?
No, there's no way. We could not come with a configuration that will not have a flag lot in it.
Okay. Do we have any other flag lots in the county that you're aware of?
Oh, we have lots of flag lots in the county. Yeah, we have quite a few flag lots. They're only allowed in the A, AR, and RE zoning. So I think that's kind of where we hit that challenge, and we've been working with Mr. Brewer over these several months.
Yeah.
Any configuration they came up with, it always created a flag lot. So if, which, it says if the driveway is more than twice the length of the width of the road, it creates a flag. So the only way for them to actually be able to subdivide it would be to rezone it to a zoning that allows that kind of configuration.
Okay. Have we had any major issues with these flag lots? And I think I heard some of my fellow colleagues say that, they are aware of flag lots, they live on flag lots. So I would even like to hear some of my colleagues even have some discussion and conversation centered around this as well, if possible.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had any complaints because they're quite common, in the rural areas of the county, because the lots have, because of the shape of the lots. Some of them are challenging. They're oftentimes long and narrow, like this one, so sometimes they can't meet the width of the building line.
Right.
Sometimes they can't meet, the road frontage width. And the only way to go would be a flag if the owner is able, to maximize the use of their land.
Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Shane, if I understood correctly, in its current zoning, this could be subdivided into smaller lots. Is that right?
You have about 18 acres, Commissioner, and the minimum lot size for R2 zoning on septic is 40,000 square feet. So you can have multiple, if they were to come through with a major subdivision, put in the roads and infrastructure, yes, you could have.
Yeah. So for me, it makes sense to go with 3 as opposed to 9 or 10. So, and yeah, I live on a flag lot. So I live in my acreage. I cut off 2 acres from my home, and it's a flag lot. So guilty as charged. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Long.
Well, I'm never coming over to your house. Just kidding. So I just want to make sure that from a real estate standpoint that the reason why we stopped doing flag lots in the county, now people have to come before to get the flag lots, is because of, I don't know if there's problems, I can't speak to that, but I just know from a real estate standpoint it is a devalue. I think when Mr. Brewer, which he knows his business very well, came before us the last time, he said that, he wasn't a big fan of flag lots either, because they just, to me, they devalue the area. But like I said, if this was another development, to say 18 acres and what can go on it, you still have curb and gutter, and you have all these things that go on the property. So we cannot sit here today to dictate that this is going to be 5 houses if they don't do it, or 8 houses if they don't do it, because just because of the math of the zoning doesn't mean that's exactly how it would be laid out if somebody wanted to develop a subdivision here. The comment about the backyards and the front yards, that's one of the problems with the flag lots is you do, depending on how you turn them, if they kept them like this, it'd probably be good because they have driveways in the front. But you having the subdivision on the back, you're going to have buffers from that subdivision to this land anyway when someone's building something, because they can't build on the property line, so it's not going to be front yard, backyard. So I just wanted to clear that up.
We have setbacks,
What they were
yes.
saying, there'll be setbacks in place on those. It's just, it's just not a good real estate move, but if this, whatever the district decides.
And Madam Chair, if I can also address the earlier comment, this was advertised again, legally in the papers, signs out, notices given out and everything. I know Mr. Norton had a question, had a comment on that.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for clarifying the advertisement as well. We definitely want to always make sure that we're doing things decent and in order and properly. So with that being said, and thank you to my colleagues for the discussion and for the clarification. So I'd like to move that we approve FLU 25-000003.
Is there a second? Second. Oh, sorry, didn't see your hand. Commissioner Edwards, all in favor? Okay, all opposed? Okay, that motion passed 4-1.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our next case, this one is also old business, and the public hearing was also held on this one, and it was tabled for more information. I'm just going to do, I won't read through the entire case, just to do a brief recap. It is CUP 25-00004. It is for a special events facility at 910 Duncan Road. Currently, they are on 10 acres, and the owner and petitioner are the Lubens. And if you turn to page 15 in your packets, they have provided an updated proposal where they addressed any concerns that the neighbor had. They also provide their vision and the event types that they were going to have, such as private weddings, reunions, birthday parties, and then they have the seasonal family events. The events will be by appointment and private rental only. They address the traffic and the safety plan, so clear exit and entry. All parking will be on site for up to as many as 60 cars, with parking attendants available and emergency access. They intend to maintain their agricultural use of the land as well. It's currently zoned AR, and they have committed to preserving the rural character of the area. There's going to be a vegetable garden area, as well as a hay field, and hay field rides were going to be one of the attractions that they were going to have as part of their seasonal events. Which brings us to the seasonal events, and I'm on page 16. It's supposed to be this, it's in your packets. In the border, So their seasonal events, small scale family friendly events throughout the year, spring and Easter egg hunts, and fall they have the hay rides and harvest themed weekends. And then of course in winter they have a Christmas light display and family holiday gatherings. And they have offered a commitment to the community where they will be notifying neighbors in advance. They're open to feedback and proactive communication. And of course, enhancing the community, not disrupting. And the sound and lighting will be carefully managed. And then they just went through, I'm not going to read through every single thing, but they did address the neighbors' concerns with alcohol. They themselves would not be pulling any alcohol permits or requesting to have alcohol. However, if there's a private wedding, if there's a bartender at that wedding, they do have to come for their pouring permit from they have to come for their permit from our department to serve alcohol. And of course, they've taken care of traffic. It'll be on-site parking. And they've gone online where they've looked at fire safety. There's 2 entrances onto the property, so to provide ingress in and out of the property for emergency vehicles and for guests. And the plan is to manage a number of events. It's going to be primarily spring through fall. We're going to be focused on private, invitation-only events, weddings, and so on. So that was the update that I wanted to bring before the board. Like I said, this was already held as a public hearing, but if I can just go through the aerials just to reacquaint you with that. And I can also read the recommendations again into the record if need be. But this is the parcel here. AR zoning, the Flume is rural residential. The Yellow River watershed. This is in Commissioner District 3. This is a survey of the property. This is their concept plan. So you have the vegetable area, hay farm. The perimeter is a circuit for the seasonal hay rides. Yellow is the parking space. We have the event center in the barn dominium here. And of course, there's an existing home there and the barn, and you have the 2 entrances to exit in and out. And if there are any questions for staff?
Commissioner Long.
You know, we're getting a lot of these coming before us now. And my concern is we probably need to relook at this, but, you know, you live in a rural residential area. You moved out there for the peace and quiet, and then we're allowing, and I know these are very popular and very big, but we're allowing somebody to basically have a commercial business out there in the middle of the rural residential area, because, and I realize it's weddings and this and that, but they still have the public coming to their house. It'd be no different than if you wanted to sell something at your property and people are coming in and out all day long. It makes it a commercial type business. So I think that, you know, that's my biggest concern, is how do we, you know, and who's going to manage all these things that are in people's proposals? You know, who from the county is going to manage all that? And are these considered commercial businesses? I mean, they have a lot. They're going to have activities and different things. They have a hay farm. They have a barn. They have, you know, different events coming up. So does that make it a commercial business?
It would be commercial in some scale, but it's also agricultural as well, based on, you know, some of the activities that they're doing. This is why they require a conditional use permit, right? So the board can hear it and to make a determination of, you know, the appropriateness of something like this. But yeah, it is allowed by the ordinance, but with a conditional use permit.
So,
Commissioner Cooper.
thank you, Madam Chair. So, if they decide to sell this property, will the next buyer, would they have to come before this board to?
The board could condition this to end if the Lubins decide to sell the property. So the use would end, the condition, so the next person does not automatically inherit it. And yes, they would have to come again before the board to reapply if they wanted to do something like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. We'll now open, Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sorry about being so delayed there. So just to be clear, Shana, the conditional use permit, if approved tonight, expires with the current owner if they were to sell it.
We can add that condition, sir. We can certainly add that condition to it, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. We'll now open the public hearing. All those that are in.
Oh, you're gonna, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. All those that are in favor of this request, you may come before the board and you'll have 10 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Devin Lubin. This is my husband, Richard Lubin, 910 Duncan Road. When we're requesting a conditional use permit so we can have hay rides throughout the fall season, light display, and then also for the barn dominium, we wanted to be able to let people have birthday parties, graduation, just different things that they wanted to have. And we also wanted to do a vegetable garden that we can also give back to the community as well.
My name is Richard Lubin, 910 Duncan Road. Somebody has said something about the neighborhood and disturbing the peace. Mitcham Farms there's plenty houses around Mitcham Farms, but Mitcham Farms is no longer around. We're just trying to give something back to the community. At the same time, just make the place look excellent, I would say. So I think the concerns about the alcohol, it's like Shana said, they have to present the permit, license bartender. We're not opening up a bar, we're not having Friday night drinking and stuff like that. It's basically, if you want to have an event, any one of you guys, we have the space for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of this?
My name is Doug Spainhour. I live 400 or 500 feet down the road from this area. It's a dirt road, gravel road. I have no problem with him having activities up there. I don't see anything like traffic or too many people that would, be congestion up there. I'm all for it.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor?
My name's Johnny Tatum. I live at 36 Glass Road, and it's right across the street from where he wants to have this business. I'm not in favor of it, but I'm not against it either. I think it's a wonderful thing what he's trying to do out there, because like he said, Mitcham Farm is gone. That's no longer out there. There's no more family events out there. My only concern is my house was broken into a couple years ago. Over $7,000 worth of stuff was stolen. People coming up and down, this dirt road is just a go-between. And so when I'm riding up and down this road, I see people stop and park. I tell them it's a public road. You're welcome to travel this road, but you can't park on this road. So that would be my concern, is people traveling up and down that road and drinking if there's an alcohol event. But like I said, I'm in favor of the business, but I do have concerns about it.
Okay.
So, and I think highly of these people, and I know they can do a good job. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward and speak in favor?
So, hello everyone, good evening. So, I am a firm believer that a property owner should be able to utilize their property in any manner within reason, given within the zoning and zoning development regulations, etc. I understand what Leon Long was saying about, concerns about disturbing the peace in a residential community, etc. And I know these people, they will do things in a prompt, professional manner. They're not going to cause any disturbance in the community. I know for a fact. So I just want to make sure that, everyone knows that they have good intentions. They want to do good for the community, offering hay rides, events for kids, events for kids, etc. Which Mitcham's Farms used to do, which was close by, which is no longer in operation. So, just want to, reiterate the fact of what everyone else said this evening as well. So that's all I have to say. Do you have any? I'm an adjoining landowner, by the way. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes. Do you
Sure.
mind stating your name
Yes,
and
my name
address?
is, yes, my name is Perry Shelnut Jr.
One more time, just
Uh-huh.
for the record.
Yes, Perry Ray Shelnut Jr.
Good. And address?
What?
Your address?
Yes, address. Yes. Okay. Yes, Mountain View Farm Properties, adjoining landowner.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
LLC company, LLC corporation.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor? Okay, well, that part of the public hearing is closed. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Okay, well, that part is closed.
Madam Chair, with that said, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
I'd like to make the motion to approve CUP 25-00004 with the condition as to if they decide to sell property, that the next buyer come before this board.
Okay.
And do you want to include the other staff recommended conditions?
Absolutely.
Okay, we have a second by Commissioner Henderson. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That was the last of our old business. New business cases. So our next case there, first for the new business, is a conditional use permit. It is CUP 25-000003. This is located on Brown Ridge Road and Magnet Road, 459 Magnet Road and Wilson Road. I'm just going to go ahead and read the tax parcels into the record. 00646B, 46, 46C, 000647, 47A, and we have 000646A. It is a total of 332 acres. Future land use map is residential and parks, recreation, and conservation. The current zoning is agricultural residential and single-family residential. It's located in the South River watershed in the established suburban core character area, Commission District 2. Current owner is Jolly Farm Inc., and the petitioner is Nicholas Ham from Green Power EMC. And just a brief history on this parcel or these group of parcels. On September 27th of 2022, the Planning Commission approved the preliminary plat for 261 lots for Jolly Farm subdivision on the tax parcels referenced in this petition. That same developer came back in August of 2023 for a revised plat, and the Planning Commission approved that plat for 134 lots for the subdivision that was going to go there. That subdivision, the preliminary plat has since expired. The developer opted not to pursue it anymore. Today we have a new applicant who is applying for a solar facility, and on 4/22/2025, Planning Commission approved the applicant's request. It was tabled at that point so that they can hold a community meeting. In May 21, 2025, the community meeting was held. It was an open style. We had multiple stations that allowed for one-on-one interactions. This meeting was hosted entirely by the applicant at Snapping Shoals. Per the applicant, they had 30 community stakeholders attending the meeting, and several of them stated their questions had been answered, and there were several people that were positive about the project, and this is the applicant reporting. Staff was present at the open house as well. On 6/24/2025, the Planning Commission recommended denial of the CUP by a vote of 3-1. And the Planning Commission Board, they expressed concerns for storage of damaged panels, wetlands, and proximity of inverters to the wetlands and subdivisions. Residents who were at the meeting, they expressed concerns about the residential buffers, property values, the health risks, landscaping, wildlife effects on the wetlands, and the afterlife of the solar panels. The applicant was able to respond. They stated that 60% of the trees will remain in place, reducing the risk to the wildlife habitats. The facility will supply clean energy to the community. They will be implementing their BMPs, which are best management practices per code during the land disturbance phase, and wetlands will not be impacted once these are installed correctly, and that is something our department would monitor. The applicant's intent is to develop a 40 megawatt AC ground mounted solar energy facility. And again, the subject site is on 332 acres, currently undeveloped largely. There's an overhead power line to the north. Snapping Shoals Creek runs along the north and east, and there are also wetlands to the east. And the subject properties are completely surrounded by residential zonings and uses. According to the comprehensive plan, the project is located in the following character areas. So it's the established suburban core, where you have the appropriate land uses and the appropriate zonings highlighted in red. The applicable section for this ordinance, so we do have a solar ordinance that the county uses in section 10-295 E and H of the solar energy ordinance. It addresses this use particularly and has specifications, so it is included in your packets. So I won't read through all of the requirements, but it does addresses things like buffers, solar access, impervious surfaces, lighting, tree removal, maintenance, abandonment. Each applicant for a solar farm, they are required to submit a detailed decommissioning plan, which they have, as required in section 8 here. And then we have specific requirements for large-scale solar energy systems. There's a required buffer. It is a permitted use section 1. There are required setbacks. The minimum setbacks are 25 feet. They are going all the way up to 90 feet, so they are going beyond what is required by the ordinance. But these are just, it goes through the signage and setbacks from the public right-of-way, electrical connections, safe installation, and again, this is all included in your packets. And the site plan analysis, based on the site plan submitted by the applicant to Development Services on February 21st, 2025, staff offers the following considerations. The applicant is proposing to develop a ground-mounted solar energy facility on 139 acres, and they're keeping the other 190 acres undisturbed. There are 10 proposed solar inverters surrounded by 14,150 feet of linear fence. The area within the fence line is approximately 132 acres, and there is an overhead power line to the north of the subject site, which is directly above the 7 inverters, above inverters 7 and 8. The proposed land disturbance amount is 139 acres, and the areas of trees to be removed is 120 acres. The site plan also shows the 25 feet and 100-foot buffers, as required by our ordinances. And we have a couple of updates. On June 12th, we received an updated plan that shows just the array shifting from the south side away from the Trotters Walk subdivision. And this was in response to addressing some of the concerns from residents in that subdivision. There's a 50-foot undisturbed buffer on a portion of the south side of the subdivision, and that has now been increased to 90 feet to accommodate residents' concerns. And the second update that we have received in June, also with a concept plan, it shows the adjustment of the fence line, and they actually just moved the buffer from 90 feet to 100 feet for the perimeter for the entire property line. And the adjustment was made to integrate agrovoltaics, which is agricultural production, such as crop or livestock production, or pollinator habitats underneath or adjacent to the solar panels. And there's a 100-foot fence line that meets the ordinance livestock requirements. So their intention is to have sheep on the property as well to maintain the grass. And we also have our fencing and property development standards, general design standards and signage, which the applicant would have to adhere to per our development standards and per division 525. And in conclusion, staff is of the opinion that the request to establish a large-scale solar energy system may be appropriate. The biological assessment did not note any major concerns. It stated that the project will have no impact on species. However, the hydrology and the flow of surface runoff may be affected during the grading process, and vehicle traffic will increase during construction. Our office, we received concerns, as discussed before, from several residents regarding buffers and the property values, and the risks to landscaping and wildlife. However, the concerns were received prior to the community meeting on May 21. At the Planning Commission meeting, these concerns were raised again, and the applicant had the opportunity to address them, and they have since set in updated site plans to address those concerns by moving the buffers all the way to 100 feet around the entire project. And the applicant, they stated 30 community stakeholders attended the meeting. Several of them stated that their questions had been answered to those who were present, and they were positive about the project at that time. And again, questions placed at the planning committee were addressed by the applicant. So staff recommends that should the Board of Commissioners approve the conditional use request, that the approval be with the recommended conditions listed below. So should the petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved for a conditional use permit for the installation of a large-scale solar energy system subject to the owner's agreement to the following conditions. Where these conditions conflict with the stipulations and offerings contained in the letter of intent, these conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. 1, the owner's agreement to restrict the large-scale solar energy use of the property as follows. A, to maintain the portion of the property shown as area within the fence line on the concept plan for the Jolly Array dated 6/16/2025 by the Peak Solar Works. And the concept plan is attached and made a part of these conditions. It is included in your packet. 2, to the owner's agreement to abide by the following development standards. A minor plat must be completed to combine all of the parcels as stated above in recommendations. B, the total size of the large-scale solar energy system, which is the area within the fence line as noted on the concept plan, cannot exceed 132 acres. There shall be a visual planting buffer where the large-scale solar energy is visible from or abuts any residential property. Opaque fencing within a minimum height of 6 feet is required where a subdivision directly abuts the large-scale solar system. So that would be in addition to the 100-foot buffer that they are implementing. The large-scale solar system shall be no closer than 25 feet from any property line or easement. The large-scale solar system will be no closer than 100 feet from any residential dwelling unit. G, no more than 50% of the existing tree coverage may be removed, or it will need to be replaced. H, prior to any licenses being issued, all plans must be approved by Development Services, Fire Marshal, Public Works, and all applicable external agencies, such as GDOT, GSWCC, and the Water Authority. I, obtain and maintain a business license. J, no livestock quarters are to be located closer than 100 feet from any property line. So these are the parcels that we are looking at here, all the ones with a star, and that's what they would have to combine eventually for this project. It is a dually zoned parcel, so everything with a star on it, you have the residential up here, and the ag section is in the light green, but every area with a star on it are parcels that are included. You have agriculturally zoned subdivisions as well as single family zone subdivisions in the yellow that are in the vicinity. The future land use map is residential and the PRC, which is the stream along the western edge. The watershed is South River. This is located in Commissioner District 2. This is just the wetlands map, so of course there won't be any development, grading, or clearing in this area, and that's why they're only clearing 132 acres out of the 300 plus acres. This is a boundary survey showing the project site. So this is our concept plan. So we have the undisturbed areas which abut the subdivisions over to the north, and then you've got like a 100-foot perimeter buffer that is showing, and these are the solar arrays and the panels. This is just a close-up. They're just showing the property line, the setbacks, and the buffers, and they've labeled them all in red in the end here. Ingress and egress, the red dot is going to be the access point. And again, it's going to be low traffic once it's established. I mean, it's just, I guess, the maintenance crew that'd be going in there. Stormwater mitigation plan that they submitted to us. This, of course, would have to be submitted in detail when they get to submit their land disturbance permit, and staff will make an assessment at that time. They submitted a decommissioning plan for this project. Oh. And if there are any questions for staff, if not, Madam Chair, this is a public hearing, excuse me.
Okay. We'll now open the public meeting. All those in favor of the request are invited to come address the board. There will be a total of 10 minutes for those speaking in favor. And if you would, please state your name and address. Thank you.
Madam Chair, board members, my name is Chris Wood. I'm with Snapping Shoals EMC, Vice President of External Affairs and Economic Development. Don't really want to belabor the point a whole lot. We heard a lot from both sides earlier. I would like to express maybe some understanding of a couple of things I've heard. The relationship between Green Power EMC and Snapping Shoals. Green Power EMC was started back in 2001 by Snapping Shoals and 37 other EMCs. We are an owner of Green Power EMC. So I've heard a lot of talk about Green Power coming out from Tucker and coming here to Newton. When you talk about Green Power, you're talking about Snapping Shoals. They are an entity that finds and provides green resources of energy for all of the EMCs of Georgia, and we have that partnership with them. So they were taking the lead on this project, but I wanted to assure the homeowners, Snapping Shoals is a neighbor to this project. We're a quarter of a mile away, just across from the roundabout, right there on Brown Bridge Road. We don't do things in half measure. We've been a part of this community for 87 years. We have a great reputation. If we're doing things out there and it's not to the neighborhood's liking, they can stop in our front door and chat with us. I've heard concerns about foliage and other things that we might plant to prevent, people seeing in and it being unsightly. If something dies out there, we will be replacing that. We maintain and monitor things. We will be overseeing the project. We also would be responsible for maintaining things. Heard a couple of concerns about inverters catching fire. It happens from time to time. We've seen that in South Georgia. It typically burns down and burns a little spot around it. Very similar to what would happen if we lost a transformer. We've got thousands and thousands of transformers all across our service territory. Things happen, lightning strikes. Well, we go out and we clean them up. Georgia EPA and the EPA has regulations on us for how we go about doing that. We're also good stewards of our community because we live here. We work here. We attend church with all of you here. So we have no reason to be ducking any of our responsibilities, and just wanted to offer assurances for that. I'd like to introduce Nick Ham with Green Power. He also would like to speak for a moment and maybe address some of the other concerns that have popped up tonight.
Thank you.
And then we'll be happy to answer any questions y'all might have.
Thanks, Chris. Thank y'all for having us tonight. Nicholas Ham, Green Power, EMC. As Chris said, I don't want to belabor any of the points that have already been said, but I do just want to come here tonight and say solar is safe. Solar is mature. Anybody know when the first solar panel was installed in the U.S.? Want to take a guess? The 1880s, right? Now, it was a different type than we use today. We use crystalline silicon, which think glass and sand, right? Those type panels have been being installed since 1954. So this isn't something that's a 10-year-old technology. It's not a 20-year-old technology. If this technology was a person, it'd be wanting to be retired and playing with grandkids right now. So solar is safe. would say throughout this process, as being a good partner with the community, with Snap and Shoals EMC, went above and beyond the design criteria in the solar ordinance for Newton County. When we heard issues from neighbors that we could accommodate, we adjusted the design. You know, treating this facility and the homes around it like I lived next to it. I don't have solar on my rooftop because my rooftop doesn't face south and I have trees. But if it was suitable, I'd feel safe with it on there because it is a mature technology that quietly produces energy, that quietly pays taxes. You know, the way we design these systems is that at the edge of the fence, the sound will be somewhere between a whisper and a quiet rural road, which is exactly what it is right now. So I'll be happy to answer any questions as y'all have them, but thank you so much. I don't have anything
Thank you.
else.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Commissioners, Madam Chair. I'm Lanier Sims. I live at 255 Sims Road. I come to you tonight in support of this project wearing several hats. First, I'm the past chairman and current chair of the Government Affairs Committee for the Newton Chamber of Commerce. We strongly support this project. We strongly support Snap and Shows. They have been a great community partner for years. They've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars back in our community. And from the chamber, like I said, we support that project. My second hat tonight is the chairman of the Newton County Industrial Development Authority. Many times when we are recruiting industries to move to our community, one of the first things they ask about is their green initiative. How can they get solar energy to their facility? So from the IDA, we support this initiative, this project as well. Third, 9 months ago, when I sat in that center chair as the interim chair, Snap and Shows and Green Power reached out to me as chairman at that time, and we sat down, we had a meeting with the county manager to address our initial concerns with that project. And I appreciated them reaching out first. A lot of times projects go through the process before electeds are even involved, so I appreciate them starting that process early on. And last, as a District 2 resident, my family owns about 100 acres just through the woods on the other side of the creek from this property. And we've been on that property about 100 years. I've been there 50, my dad's been there 93. We support this project. When I grew up there, it was a very rural area. Now there's subdivisions to the right, to the left, in front, but there's nothing behind me. If this project goes through, nothing will be behind me. There will be some solar panels, but the rural life will still be there. As one of the gentlemen stated earlier, this project has, this piece of property has been up for sale several times and several developers have looked at it. My fear is if they bring sewer just down the road from silos, how many houses would go on that property? We're talking about a 300-acre plus property. And if we have density, we're talking about hundreds of houses that we don't need on Magnet Road nor Brown Bridge Road. So as a resident, like I said, I support this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Julius Hayden. I live in District 2, and I'm here to support this particular project. I have in my hand a report produced by the University of Valdosta's Department of Community Affairs. Lee County asked them to do that because they had a very similar project going on back in 2021. The synopsis of this report says, the solar energy systems are likely to produce less contaminated runoff, less water, and use less water, and generate less carbon emissions than agricultural uses, while reducing carbon emissions from other power alternatives. The solar system facilities have less impact on local transportation and infrastructure since they require less heavy equipment or transportation after the initial period of construction. So basically, these things sit there and generate power. I'm very much in favor of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor? Well, that part of the public hearing will be closed. We'll now hear from those opposed to the request.
Madam Chair and board members, I wanted to just clarify, my name is Donna Yop at 230 Trotters Walk. I've been a resident for over 30 years in the subdivision, and I am the nucleus of this subdivision, keeping things in order and maintaining things in the subdivision. The homeowners and the residents have nothing against solar energy. You've heard several comments made pertaining to the solar energy, but the comments are from those that do not have it on their house. They do not have such a plant like this being projected to go behind your house and your back door, where we have family, friends. There's several young parents that have moved in, that the women are pregnant. You just don't know what's going to happen down the road. Even though they say it's safe today, it might not be safe tomorrow. But we totally disagree with this being constructed in our subdivision and within the 25 to 100 feet around our homes, because it's at our back doors. Newton County has several other areas in the community in which something of this magnitude could be located. And I understand Jolly wants to sell their land and everything, but this is not at their back door. They're totally not going to be affected by where this plant is potentially going in. As property owners of the community and the county for many, many years, all residents of Trotters Walk and surrounding subdivisions has paid taxes, contributed to the neighborhood. We value our property, land, and continuously stood behind the county and community as long as we have lived in the area. Now the homeowners and residents of Trotters Walk subdivision and surrounding areas is calling on the board members to respectfully deny this proposal and save our homes and our community. I thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishes to speak in opposition? Well, that part of the public hearing is closed then. Do we have a motion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before I make my motion, I do want to make some comments real quick, briefly. First of all, thank you for all the residents that came out to speak today. This is what democracy looks like. And this is the way that things are supposed to happen. I want to take this opportunity to utilize this as a moment to encourage all of the residents, whether you're in District 2 or any other area, whenever there is a topic or project of discussion that's brand new, don't sit back and be quiet if you are for it or if you are against it. Make sure that you speak about what it is that you are either in favor of it or not in favor of it. So I want to encourage the residents to continue to do that. Secondly, it has been brought to my attention that it was stated that Commissioner Mason stated on social media that he opposes this. So I want to go ahead and address that concern. That is inaccurate information. I've never stated, I did put a polling out on social media. There are some individuals that are sitting in this audience today that actually were a part of that poll, and they can tell you that I did put that polling out there on social media. And with that polling, basically, I asked for those who were for it, explain why. Those who opposed, explain why. Because we want to make sure that we have good dialogue on any project that's actually coming up. I was very surprised on the vote of the Planning Commission last Tuesday. I don't dictate to any of my appointments what they should or should not do. What I do is I educate them. I work with them as a team and allow them to have the autonomy to be able to be empowered to make the decisions that they deem necessary based off of the data that they receive. On the day that I took the poll, I did share with the appointment all of the concerns that I had saw on social media. I shared with him even the response that I received from the CEO president of Snapping Shows, Mr. Sean Mock. And I stated that the results of the poll, which the results of that poll was majority of the residents in District 2 that did submit their information on the poll were in favor. And so I stated that to that representative. So I was basically surprised in the result as well. If I can, just real briefly, I wanted to read a message briefly from the CEO of Snapping Shows, and then I'll make my motion. Because I wanted to make sure that we do everything we can, and I did everything I can to do my due diligence. So he wrote, "Thanks for reaching out, Commissioner Mason. We look forward to getting everyone's questions answered as we work on this exciting community project. We understand that introducing any new infrastructure near residential areas brings valid concerns, and we want to provide clear, fact-based responses. I have tried to address all of the questions in summary form. Many of the questions were covered in depth at the open house and also addressed on our project website, which is www.ssemc.com/jolly-solar. Solar facilities are designed to be quiet neighbors. Operational noise from inverters and transformers is minimal and cannot even be detected outside of the facility fencing. Construction activity is temporary and managed under strict local traffic and noise control standards. Numerous independent studies, including those from the U.S. Department of Energy and major universities, show that solar farms do not negatively impact nearby property values, especially when setbacks and visual buffers are in place like we have planned for with the Jolly project. In fact, many communities report no visible presence once the project is screened with vegetation. Environmental stewardship is a key component. Existing trees and natural buffers are preserved where possible, and native pollinator-friendly ground cover is planted to support local ecosystems. The panels themselves contain no toxic fluids, and if damaged, they pose no risk to soil or groundwater. A full vegetation and erosion control plan will be implemented and maintained. The site will include a decommissioning plan to ensure the land is fully restored at the end of the facility's life. This includes the removal of all equipment and the return of the land to its original state. We respect the character and natural beauty of our communities and will continue to engage with local residents to ensure the project is thoughtfully designed and aligned with local land use standards. Our goal is to preserve the quality of life and environment that our members and neighbors value." That came from the CEO president, Mr. Sean Mock at Snapping Shows. He wanted to make sure that he addressed all those concerns. I took that statement and I even posted it on social media so that those that participated in the poll could even see that I was doing my best to make sure that we address those concerns. So, Madam Chair, with that being said, and initially I was going to say, I thought it was going to be best to basically table this and maybe have another town hall. But based off of the data that I've received, I've heard, the calls that I've received, the text messages, the emails, I believe as of today that I move that we approve CUP 25-000003.
Thank you.
Are you including in that motion the staff recommendation?
Yes, with staff recommendations.
Okay. Thank you. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson?
Thank you. I won't be long. Staff and shows have been a very good neighbor to Newton County for years. In fact, when I first came on way back in, shooting the late 96, 97, 97, they had worked hard. I think Danny Stone was a commissioner then and worked hard with the community to try to do what they could in order to help the community. Now, I know that some of the people at the subdivision who this property may kind of almost butts up in their backyard, but I think over the long haul, that they'll find they'll be able to work with step and shows and hopefully work out their differences. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Edwards?
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, let me say I trust Snap and Shows more than I trust any other employer in this community. They've been a partner for years and years. My brother even worked there at one time. So I got good friends that work there. I trust them. And I say that to the people of that community. I don't live there. But to the people of that community, I can say that with 100% confidence. So, I did some of the math, and Ms. Applewhite and I talked before the meeting, and if I'm right, 260 homes were platted there at one time.
Yes, sir.
And with sewer, it could be many, many, many more. So, but even with 260 homes, you're talking about 520 cars, possibly 500 kids in the school system to stretch an already stressed law enforcement, ambulatory, and fire services. So, and to answer one other question, one other comment I heard, I live on acreage in the southeastern part of our county. And behind me is 100 acres that I do not own, that I do not control. If I had the option of high-density housing, like this place does, according to the flume, and especially with sewer just readily available, if I had the option of high-density home and a 100-acre solar farm, I'd pick the 100-acre solar farm all day long. So there's no doubt for me, this is protecting this community, I believe. 139 acres of 300 plus with the balance in green space to include buffers. So I just want to, for the concerned citizens, I want you to know that. I want you to understand that. And I think I fully support the development, and I definitely fully support Snap and Shows. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay, thank you. That passes then.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our next case this evening is a conditional use permit for a new cell tower. These traditionally have a different acronym in front of them. It's NLT 25-000001. We have it as also known as the CUP 25 because it was initially written that way, but the number that it will formally take on would be the NLT, which stands for the new cell tower. It is the proposed use is a wireless telecommunications tower located at 14327 Highway 36, tax ID 0089011. It'll be on 132.72 acres. And the 0.23 acre is leased for the wireless tower. So the entire lot is 132 acres, but they're just using 0.23 of those acres. Future land use is rural residential. The zoning is agricultural as well as highway commercial. It's in the Alcovy River watershed. Commission District 1. Owner is Kent Miller and petitioner is Mike Dubemar. And the applicant's intent is to develop a new wireless telecommunications tower for T-Mobile. And again, the subject site is on the eastern side of Highway 36. There's an accessory building, farm building, currently on the property. It is surrounded by agricultural and residential uses on the northern, eastern, and western boundaries. And to the south of the property is Alcovy High School. And just a brief history, on 6/24/2025, the Planning Commission recommended approval of NLT 25-000001 by a vote of 4-0, and there was no opposition to this petition. And our site plan analysis, submitted May 2nd, 2025. Again, the total acreage is 132.72, existing farm building, and is it's a wireless tower facility that they're proposing. And the reason they're here before is because it's a brand new structure as opposed to just adding an antenna. Per the applicant, the existing entry will be approved as required by GDOT. There is already an existing entrance there onto the property, and they will be utilizing that. The setbacks and separation, so it's going to be 195 feet monopole tower, and with the lightning rod, it will be 199 feet. And it's going to be on a 0.23 acres lease lot. The closest northern property boundary line, it'll be 265 feet away from that boundary line. It's going to be 2,684 feet away approximately from the east, 892 feet away approximately from the south, and 268 feet approximately from the west. It is governed by section 510630D2, which requires towers to be set back a distance equal to the height of the tower. So the tower with the lightning rod is going to be 199 feet, and all the setbacks are way in excess of 199 feet. Some are even up to 2,000 feet away. Yeah. And of course, for the A zoning district, you have the irregular setbacks in the front is 60 feet, 25 feet to the side, 40 feet to the rear, and of course, the tower exceeds these setbacks. Landscaping will be per section 510, 630, D3 and 4, which both fencing and landscaping are required around the compound. And the plan shows that the tower facility will be enclosed by a wood security fence not less than 6 feet in height. It also shows a proposed landscape buffer will consist of evergreen trees and or shrubs that surround the fenced compound. And fencing and landscaping around the tower are appropriate at this time. The appropriate or the applicable sections is the 510, 630, D3, and 4, which are included in your packets, so I won't read through those. In conclusion, staff recommends that should this use comply with the standards under section 510, 630, it should be approved at this location, so recommended conditions. Should this petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved for a conditional use permit for a wireless telecommunications tower subject to the owner's agreement to the following conditions. Where these conditions conflict with the stipulations and offerings contained in the letter of intent, these conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. 1, to the owner's agreement to restrict the use of the leased area of the subject property as follows. A telecommunications tower and support structure or fencing at the tower base. B, comply with the standards of section 510-630 of the zoning ordinance as applicable. 2, to the owner's agreement to abide by the following. A, to the site plan and the legal description received by Development Services on May 2nd, 2025. Said site plan is conceptual only and must meet or exceed the requirements of the zoning ordinance and these conditions prior to the approval of a land disturbance permit. Unless otherwise noted herein, compliance with all conditions shall be in place prior to the issuance of the first certificate of occupancy. 3, to the owner's agreement to abide by the following development standards. A landscaping plan meeting the requirements of the zoning ordinance to be approved by Development Services. B, telecommunications tower shall be a monopole design. C, the maximum height of the tower shall be 195 feet, 199 with the lightning rod. D, provide for at least 3 antennas. E, the monopole shall accommodate equipment for potential use by Newton County for E911 and other emergency services below the 3rd antenna. So this is our aerial map, parcel 139 acres. Where the star is, that is where the cell tower is going to be going. And of course there's commercial zoning. It's a dual zone property. There's a little square there that is commercial in front. The towers are going just behind it there. Future land use map is rural residential, Alcovy River watershed, District Commissioner 1. This is a boundary survey showing the location of the tower and of course the access driveway in. They're utilizing an existing drive. And this is just zoomed in, showing the access drive and the location of the tower. This is our concept plan. We have the tower located here. This is just a zoom close-up of the concept plan. We see the fenced area and the landscaping around the tower and all the equipment in there. This is just a close-up showing the landscaped area of the evergreens that will shield the base of the tower and the equipment. This is the profile view, and you have the evergreens at the bottom here. So everything on the ground will be held behind the shield and the fence and the plantings. We have an aerial map with the photosim locations. And these are provided by the applicant. This is just a street view from the northwest. So the arrow there shows where the tower is, and that's literally what it's going to look like from this angle. This is from the southwest, and the below it's the arrow showing they're superimposed the tower in there, where the red arrow is at the bottom. This is from the southeast. They have the red arrow in the lower photo, pointing to where the tower is going to be. And we have a search ring area showing the closest existing towers. This is a 52-mile radius, so we don't have any within there. Well, there's one here. Actually has a tower location. Is there any questions for staff? If not, this is a public hearing, Madam Chair.
Okay, we'll now open the public meeting. All those in favor of the request are invited to come address the board. There'll be a total of 10 minutes for those speaking in favor.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Drew Pitts. I'm at 11720 Amber Park Drive, Alpharetta, Georgia. I'm a professional engineer registered in the state of Georgia. I work for Kimley Horn, the civil engineering firm that put the exhibit together, and I'm here on behalf of APC Towers. I can be pretty brief. Honestly, it's pretty straightforward. Staff kind of went through it, but we're developing a 60 by 60 square compound accessed by a 12-foot wide gravel road. This will be inside of a 100 by 100 lease area with a 20-foot wide easement that will access from an existing apron off of Highway 36. We meet all parts of the ordinance, meet or exceed. As mentioned, we'll have a 6-foot tall opaque fence surrounded by 6-foot tall trees, minimum height at planting. And we are more than tower height away from everything in the surrounding area. At this time, we're just requesting the conditional use permit as part of the zoning ordinance. If you have any questions, feel free.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else?
Good evening, board members. Brian Coates, 35 Traverse Lake Drive, Covington, Georgia. I'm a teacher at Alcovey High School. I'm kind of involved with initiating this project, and I've been there for 8 years. And basically, as a teacher that's in the building, the service is terrible. This is just student staff. We can hardly make phone calls. So there have been several emergencies that have taken place where we have not been able to make phone calls. So I strongly encourage you all to consider passing this for the safety and security of those that attend that school. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else to speak in favor? That part of the public meeting will be closed. Now, we'll hear from those opposed to the request. Okay, hearing none, that'll be closed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve conditional use permit 2500006 with staff recommendations.
Okay. We have a motion, a second, any discussion? Commissioner Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, I just can imagine it's awfully scary at Alcovy. If there was an emergency and you couldn't call 911, and that you probably had to get the person up if they were injured and put them in the car or something, try to ride them close to town so you get a signal. And so I'm hoping that this will solve their problem at Alcovy High, which is a great high school. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Edwards?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I've been a commissioner for 8.5 years, just exactly 8.5 years. So one of the most talked about issues that I've been approached with over the years has been the cell service. Ironically, something we don't control until an issue like this comes before us for a vote. So I understood the concern of the teacher from Alcovy High School. A lot of kids at that school, and if this makes them a little safer, then so be it. I'm in full support of it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, so was that in the motion? Did you make a motion? Yeah. Okay, and you second, okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to make a quick comment. Half of my district goes to Alcovy students. And so I spend quite a bit of time at Alcovy. As a matter of fact, I had a mentee that just graduated from Alcovy High School, and I was there every single Friday. And so I understand and know what it's like to be in that area and really not have the best service needed. I think this would be great for this area, and it is much needed. And so I just wanted to say I'm in full support of this as well. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? No discussion? All in favor? Okay, that passes then. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That was the last of our public hearings. I do have a streetlight resolution to be read into the record for approval. So there's a resolution 070125.
Madam Chair, that's number
we've got
17.
We have to wait, don't we? Okay, we need. Go back, number 10. 10.
I just need clarity. Are we going back to number 11 or 17?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay.
And Patrick, we're going to return to number 11, Newton County Fire Services with Chief Royce Turner. Newton County Fire Services is requesting board approval of memorandum of agreement with GEMA and Homeland Security Georgia Search and Rescue Team. Funding source is a general fire budget, and it has been budgeted.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Board of Commissioners, for the approval to accept the GSOT unit from the Cobb County Fire Rescue. We are requesting approval for MOU to finalize Newton County Fire Service role as a contributing agency for the GSOT program. Participation in the GSOT program aligns with our mission to protect the lives and property and offer invaluable opportunities for training, equipment access, and mutual aid collaboration across jurisdiction. With your approval.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you, that passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, we're on number 12. This is going to be presented by our Acting County Manager, Mr. James Brown, and Ms. Brittany White, Finance Director. Fiscal year 25 pay adjustment. Finance is requesting board approval for the June 30th employee pay adjustment in alignment with the pay cycle.
Good evening. Tonight we are requesting to make the new pay scale and the new pay rates effective on June 30th instead of July 1st. And that is essentially just the way that the pay period falls. So June 30 is the first day of the pay period. So that's why we're requesting this.
Okay. All right, all in favor? Okay, thank you.
Next
Motion's
item is
approved.
item number 13, Madam Chair, which Brittany White is also going to present. This is regarding NSP is seeking board approval for the grant closeout agreement for the Neighborhood Stabilization Program 1. Deadline, it is time sensitive for August 1st.
Thank you. We are seeking approval to execute the grant closeout agreement for the Neighborhood Stabilization Program. This is essentially just the closeout of the performance report back from May 31st, 2022. This does not necessarily mean that the NSP program is over. We do continue on with the NSP program until all principal has been paid for all the homes that are in the program. Any questions?
Okay, motion? Oh, you got a question? Okay, Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. So all the, I guess the premium or the money is being paid out of general fund now, or do they still have any money in that fund, stabilization fund?
This is essentially just a pass-through. So we collect the money from Fuller Center, who collects the principal payments from the homeowners, and then we just turn it over to DCA. So we do not keep that money.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, second. Mr. Long, all in favor? Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, we're on number 14. We're going to have Ms. Wendy Patterson, the EMA Director, come forward. EMA is requesting board approval for Lux Mitigation and Planning Corp. Professional Services Agreement contract for updating the hazard mitigation plan. The grant amount, again, the grant amount is $18,000 and there's no cost or match required.
Good evening, everyone. Federal law requires our hazard mitigation plan to be updated every 5 years. The hazard mitigation is required for Newton County to remain eligible for certain FEMA grants, as well as federal and state reimbursement after presidentially declared disasters. So this contract will allow Lux Mitigation to facilitate our meetings, prepare and file our updated plan to all the state and federal levels within the required time frame. Our current plan expires in August of 2026. So moving forward on this contract will allow the time that we would need to get all of the public meetings in and all of the plans submitted to FEMA. So if there are any questions, I'll be glad to answer those.
Okay, do we have a motion? So moved. Second? Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, we're on number 15. We have Mr. Ernie Smith who's going to present. This GIS is requesting board approval of consulting agreement between Newton County and Geocom, Inc. The cost is $29,922 over a 3-year total annual. Funding source is the general fund, and it is budgeted. There's no match required.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Board. We're requesting a continuation of an existing contract with the company called Geocom. They have been a partner in our GIS group and with our 911 dispatch, working on the next generation 911 dispatching protocols, which are extremely complex because of cell phones and other methods of communication and information that's being shared. Our component in this, of course, is mapping, and as every time that there is a service area change, whether it be fire, law enforcement, or EMA, it requires adjustment to the the next gen 911 maps, which generates a cascade event through state agencies, federal agencies, and even private companies such as AT&T. I'm led to believe that they have performed quite well over the period of the contract to this point in time, and we have every confidence that they are a good and competent partner in the effort as we move forward on this critical issue.
Okay. Do we have a second? All in favor? Okay, that passed. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Madam Chair, the next item we have is item number 16. The Office of the County Manager is requesting board approval of the Gaither Woods lease agreement between Newton County and the Georgia Department of Natural Resources. Time sensitive as of today. There's no cost in lieu of the Department of Natural Resources providing rental payment. Department of Natural Resources will provide services, land management, and there's no match. And this is 354 Davis Ford Road, not 270 Davis Ford Road.
Okay.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. This is an agreement to continue the land management with DNR for the property that's also known as the Bear Creek Reservoir property. So that's just a extenuation of the 3-year contract with DNR.
Okay. Do we have a motion? Second? Okay. Commissioner Cooper, I believe. Second.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
No.
Oh, I'm
yes,
sorry.
That's
you have-
okay. Yeah.
You have a question?
Yes, ma'am. The question was, is that where, you know, I think one time, a long time ago, it was like, you could go out in the field and like where deers and stuff was at, and you could hunt them. So is this that area out in the field that they cutting the grass or the?
No, this is the land that you drive down Davis Ford Road. That's going to be on the left side of the property as you're coming up to Gaithers.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So now, all in favor? Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, we're on item number 17 for the streetlight petitions. The first resolution is R as in Robert 070125, and it's a resolution of Newton County Board of Commissioners to create a street lighting district for Bailey Station subdivision that's located in Highway 81 and Highway 162, 128 lots.
Yes, ma'am, that is the whole resolution. It is for this subdivision to just create a lighting district for them.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? Motion? Okay. Okay, Commissioner Henderson. Okay. Commissioner Mason, second. Okay, all in favor? Okay.
And our second resolution this evening is the second streetlight resolution, number R070125A. It's a resolution of the Newton County Board of Commissioners to create a street lighting district for Pebble Ridge Subdivision Phase 3, 15 lots.
Right. Do we? Commissioner Long, do we have a second? Okay, Commissioner Cooper. All in favor? Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Pass. Thank you.
Madam Chair, we're on item number 18. This is citizen comments. This section of the agenda is actually open for all citizens to come forward, of course, one at a time, but they can come forward and address any issue that will impact their community or Newton County as a whole. Again, each person will be given 3 minutes. Once your time is up, we'll allow the next person to come, but this is the open forum for citizen comments.
Okay. So if we don't have any citizen comments, then we will just close that part of the.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, we can move on to item number 19, which will be the board comments, and we'll start with Commissioner Edwards.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'll be brief. Tonight, we made a decision on a controversial issue, and I want to make sure the citizens of Newton County understand there are remaining places like that in District 2, 1, 5, 3, and 4 that sometimes we will have to, because vacant land is not going to sit vacant forever. A judge at some point will tell us what we're going to put there or what we have to allow to go there. So we have to make decisions that we feel, I'm going to call it protect our districts as best we can, especially if we believe we've overbuilt or too many high density developments. So that's not the last big decision we'll have to make in any district. So I just want to commend the board, especially not because it was a unanimous vote, but because we had dialogue and discussion. And if I disagree with Commissioner Mason, it was, we'll vote on something next month. We'll move on to the next meeting. So I want people to know, especially the public, to know that that's not the last tough decision we'll have to make. There are more on the horizon. I don't know of any specific right this second, but we're going to have to select what goes in a lot of these places. We're going to have to pick, or somebody will pick for us. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I concur with my colleague. There are definitely going to be major decisions that we're going to have to continue to make. And so I'm appreciative of this current board. I think that we have been able to have these discussions and conversations with civility. We've been able to have these conversations and discussions to kind of talk it out, think through it, hear each other's perspective, and really be able to make the best decision for our community. And so I'm grateful and thankful for the current colleagues that sit on this board, that we can really move forward in a very, very productive and civil manner. And I think that is what the citizens of this community want. Lastly, we are finishing up our last movie in the park in District 2. It will take place on July the 25th at Denny Dobbs Park. And so we will have it there. We had a great movie in the park for Juneteenth. We had a great showing, great time. And so we're looking forward to our back to school for July the 25th. We're going to do our best to be out there to give away backpacks, school supplies. We want to be a blessing to our students as they prepare and get ready to go back to school in August. And so I want to take this opportunity to invite everybody out. July 25th, it's a Friday night. We'll start around 6 o'clock p.m. and then once the starts getting dark, then we'll show the movie. We haven't solidified the movie just yet, but we are sure it's going to be great. So we're looking forward to having everybody there and to continue not focusing on the negativity of Denny Dobbs Park, but let's focus on the positivity, the positive things that take place at Denny Dobbs Park. Thank you.
Commissioner Cooper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to, I'm getting a lot of phone calls on some of the Salem Road, about the trees pile up and in that area. So I wish there was something that we can maybe put out and let them know that this is a DOT project or state project, that the county, that we don't have any kind of influence or anything on this nature. So I'd like to see something put out explaining this situation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, first of all, just would like to ask our county manager to think about on Lower River Road, I think to pick up the paper, I've been getting a lot of complaints about that. And one of my constituents, he called me this evening, and he said, well, I think they're just throwing it out there on the road. And I said, well, it's always a possibility that people throw trash on the road. So if we get the gentlemen whom I think we are paying to pick up the trash, to pick that trash up. And next to the last thing that I'll say, my time permits me, my wife got him about, she said, well, you abstained. I said, yes, I did. And it was 2 reasons, ABM, and the other one was for the taxes. And I couldn't find myself to vote on $94 more on people's taxes. I couldn't bring myself to do that because I know the people are having hard times. And I can remember sitting back here and I said, we can't spend no more than what we take in. And I think we need more commercial. And lastly, ABM, I found out that the agreement was $350,000 that I stated to Patrick earlier. And somehow or another, doing some kind of resolution, which I got that too, it ended up being $500,000 a year. And I think we just being got all the way around on just about everything the county is. And so we need to just kind of just sit down and take a deep breath and bring stuff to kind of save money for our county. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Long?
I just wanted to thank our county road department, and I wanted to thank our code enforcement department. I have been busily on the site, Notify Newton, putting lots of requests out. I'm kind of proactive, right around, look for, if I see a problem, I'll turn it in. I don't wait for a citizen to turn it in. And they've done an outstanding job of getting things done. And if they had questions, they gave me a call. I encourage citizens to use this particular platform. You know, I had somebody reach out, they were really mad at me because their road is not on the paving list and it hasn't been paved since Davis Morgan was here. So, but I went by yesterday and drove down their road and was on their road, and I think it does need some attention, and I'll be sure to make sure that I put that into the road department and the Notify Newton office. It's a hard decision, and I know that our road department goes around and they look at every road in the county, and everybody wants their road done. But we can't do every road. We have to go down, and these guys are trained and they understand how to prioritize the paving. I wish we could just go pave everything in the county, but we can't. And so sometimes we have to do maintenance or repair on these roads or on the trenches of the roads. And I think these guys have done a great job, and it's never a moment, and since I've been on this board, that I've asked that something hasn't been addressed or looked at, and I thank you, County Manager. I think you have a lot to do with that. But I just wanted to say thank you to those people. Sometimes they never hear good things. They get complained at, and they are awesome. So just wanted to bring that up tonight.
Thank you all for coming tonight, and have a happy, safe 4th. God bless you, Newton County, and God bless America. Do I have a vote to adjourn? Motion? Okay, thank you.